I wanted to show your heap overflows, ED205 and 206. Now, 205 you can run on, you have to have an AMD processor or Intel, not ARM, but you can have any version of Debian up to Debian 12, so you should have this ready. If you have Debian 13, I haven't tested it. It might be fine. So I have two machines here. This one is Debian 11. This is the one I'll use for this project, this Debian 12 machine. So let me see if I can, there we go. Put this up here and, all right, there we are. So I'm going to make it bigger and go into, see what directories I have here. I think it's in 127. Yeah, ED 205. All right. All right, so what you do is you download the code, and this is why you have to have the right processor, because you're going to download it already precompiled. So you get the source code and you get the actual program itself, and then you make it run. All right, and so it's going to take a string input. So let's just take a look at the source code, actually. All right, so what's going to happen here, it imports some libraries. This came from a capture the flag contest. So you have a winner function, it's going to print something. You have a no winner, it's going to print something. And I've obfuscated this in the source code. And then, so down here, it's just going to take a command line argument, which is, you have to have the name of the program followed by a string. It won't let you, otherwise it won't let you run. Then it's going to allocate space for data and a file pointer and point it to no winner. Then it's going to copy the second argument into the name part of this. And that is a data structure, which is defined up here. It just has name 64, and after it there's a file pointer, the structured data. So you're going to overrun this 64-byte string until you change the file pointer, and that's used to control the execution. So it's creating a structure in the heap that is rather like the structure of a stack frame, where you have a string variable that can be overrun, and then you have a pointer after it is used to control execution. So this means if I put in some number more than 64 letters, I should eventually hit this file pointer and change what code is executed, because it executes it here using that file pointer. So that's what's going on here. So you can run this program and feed in some data, and you don't pass by putting in data like that. But if you put in something longer, all right, we can see how it works here. If I put in the debugger, and take a look at the code list 31 to 34. All right, so this is where the overflow happens, where it takes the input from the user, from the command line, and copies it into here, leading to an overflow. So I can put a break at line 33 after that has run, and then I can run it and put in something short like AAAA. Oh yes, pardon me. I had to put it there as a command line argument. So I have to do run AAAA. I can't do run. All right, there we go. Now I've hit the breakpoint, and now I can look for the heap, which is info proc mappings, and there's the heap. The heap is here at this address 0804B00, so I can examine the memory at that address. X 130 hexadecimal words at that address. I might need a star. Nope, okay, just a number will do. Okay, there we are. So here we see the heap is currently full of a lot of zeros, but if I press enter, you'll see down here is the A's I put in. So there it is, and by the way, down here is a pointer below that, and this is probably the pointer that's going to point to the no winner function. In fact, if I disassemble no winner, I'll see that it starts at that address 080484F6. So here's the point. I have a string starting here that I control, and I have a pointer down there that controls the instruction pointer. So I just need to make this string a lot longer, and I'll hit the instruction pointer. So, all right. So now I can observe a crash if I quit, and I look at my first attack. It's here. I just print 90 A's. So if I run this one, prints out 90 A's. So if I feed that in to the program, which is going to be just run the program and put in the output of that program, H1. Then I get a segmentation fault. So it did load some of these A's into the instruction pointer, try to jump there, and that's invalid. So now I have the crash. Now I can exploit it. So what you do is replace, you have 70 characters. I don't know if 64 would be okay, probably 70 is okay. Then I put in a non-repeating string at the end. And when you run that one, you're going to get it crashing and see where it goes. Let's just do that. Let's cat H2. So here it is, 70 A's followed by 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and so on, a 20-character string. So if I go into the debugger again, and I run, taking the output from H2, then I crash, and, well, I thought I would crash, exited norm. Oh, because I didn't. All right, I think I have to use run --args or something. Let me check my instructions here. Yeah, run, see, what did I do wrong? Oh, I missed the slash, okay. So I have to run ./h2, there we are. Now, it's going to crash, and you see what ended up in the instruction pointer is 5566. In hex, 0 is 30, 1 is 31, and so on. And you can check that by doing info registers. And you'll see, in fact, the EIP does in fact contain 35, 35, 36, 36. So that means I know how to improve my exploit. If I look at H2, it was the 5566. That's what ended up in the instruction pointer. So to hit the instruction pointer precisely, I just, thought there'd be an H3. Oh, I just went to H4. But anyway, I'm here. I think I made an H3, yeah. And the H3, I just put in 80 of these, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, right. So I can see that because this 5566 control the instruction pointer, and this is 10 more characters, 2 zeros, 2 ones, 2 threes, 2 fours. So this is 80. So all I have to do is have 80 A's, and the next 4 bytes are what goes in the instruction pointer. So now I can disassemble winner and find the right address and put that in here, 80 characters to start with, and then that address backwards, 080484CB, and then I'll get the flag. By running it, I'll see it'll run the winner function. So that's how this is a simple heap exploit that's very much like the buffer overflows we've done, and there are some other challenges down here where you get to do it under a remote server and on a 64-bit server to get extra credit. So that's what I wanted to show you about that one.